Hey everyone. Thank you for being with us one more time. It's another week of Brian's Bible study. I want to thank you for being with us every week. We greatly appreciate it. Feel free to click on any of the previous videos. I believe we're on our last installment of all the answers to life. This Matthews 5 through 7 has been so interesting because, believe it or not, this is one of the rare times where Jesus is preaching. Okay, that's one of the rare times, because a lot of times in the Synoptic Gospel, he's either answering a question, which may take a few verses, if not a chapter or two, or he's teaching. So it's it's very rare that we actually see him preach, and he did from Matthews 5 to 7. We are talking about close to maybe 100 verses, okay, of just him just letting us know this is what the Father is like. This is what the Father is like, and we thank God for Jesus, because as I shared this example before, this is like and I heard the Godfather share this recently. He said Jesus is like a close relative or a loved one that he's sitting you're meeting him for coffee or what have you, and he's telling you what a relative of yours is like. You never met him, but this is what he's doing. He's telling you what this relative is like, and all the little in your secrecies and everything. And this is just wonderful. I think I don't know. Whenever the Beatitudes come up, I think we view it as, you know what, that's a great idea. I was like, no, it's not a great idea. It's not just, we're not going to minimize it to a great idea. It's a whole new way of living, okay? So, people, I believe that people like change. They just don't want to change. Okay? I believe that people like change. They just don't want to change. So, Jesus is saying the change first begins in you. Change first is by the way how you think, is your mentality, your spirit man. Okay? We work on that, then it becomes a culture. Then it becomes automatic. And then all these things shall be added unto you. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So, all right, let's start with prayer. Father, we thank you and we adore you. We thank you for us coming together one more time for another Bible study. We are just so grateful, and we're just happy to be a part of this. Just an opportunity to just put everything on pause and see what thus saith the Lord. And we just thank you, Lord. Just slow and methodical stew, just cooking, simmering as we go through this together, and line upon line and precept upon precept. We are just so grateful to you, the master teacher. We are just so grateful, Lord. Oh, open our minds. Oh, open our eyes. Open our understanding. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. This should be the last installment of all the answers to life, and it's true. When you go over these 100 or so verses in these 3 chapters, Matthews 5 through 7, it's like, oh, I think that covers just about everything. Yeah. All right. Matthew's chapter 7, starting in verse 1. It says, "Judge not that ye be judged." I'm sorry. In verse 1 it says, "Judge not that ye be not judged." Amen. So, Jesus is No, number one, he is the number one authority. The Son King. SON hyphen King. He is the number one authority. Him and his Father is one. So the one who is supreme, and we always got to be careful how we use the word supreme, because the word supreme to its organic definition only refers to God. So he is the supreme ruler, number one. And he says, judge not that ye be not judged. Okay. So what he means by that is, okay, so he's on top of the mount and he's dealing with a very hypocritical environment because the Pharisees basically dominate, okay? As much as they are oppressed by the Pharisees, you know, that's why I believe is in Proverbs. Solomon says, do not envy the ways of the oppressor, okay? Because when we can't beat our oppressor, what we end up doing is we become being like them, okay? If we can't be the oppressor, we tend to dress like them. We tend to talk like them. We tend to walk like them. We tend to treat other people, even our loved ones, the way the oppressor, because that's just how it is. Oppression is a pandemic, okay? So Jesus is teaching them after generations and generations. They haven't heard, the word of God has not been exposed to them in 400 years, okay? So John the Baptist, you have a short stint there, and now you have Jesus. So he's trying to reverse the way they think into how things ought to be kingdom-wise. So he starts out by saying in chapter 7, judge not that ye be not judged. He said it's a seed. It's a seed, okay? So I think about people I know that are sensitive about, they can't stand super religious people. However, they themselves have a lot of religiosity about them. Okay? I mean, two people come to mind straight off the back, and neither one of them are elderly. Okay? They can't stand when people say certain things to them and do the little lingo and all this other stuff or whatever. But me being in or have been in association with them, it's like, yo, you can see everyone else's religiosity, but you can't see your own. Okay? That's how it is. Okay? So it's similar to this. It's like you don't like being judged, but yet you don't pick up. No red flag or tingling or anything goes off when you're judging someone else. Okay? Now, to clarify, he says, judge not that ye be not judged. All right? So he says it starts with you. Okay? It starts with you. You want to stop this coronavirus? Stop playing basketball together with your friends. Okay? All right? This is crazy. This is crazy. We can slow down the spread. We can slow down the spread. We may not be able to stop it, but we can slow it down if we stop ignoring the things that we're being advised about. All right? So, you want to stop being judged? Stop judging others. Now, what this means is to look unfavorably towards someone else. Okay? Verse 1 means to to not look down on someone else or on them or their situation or what's happening. It's because something my father said years ago. He said that someone may be down today, but God can bring them up tomorrow. It's like you never know where people are in their process. Okay, so I mean, you can't look down on someone because number one, you don't know all the information. So this is what the Lord has been dealing with me about earlier. He says, "Judge not, that ye be not judged." Okay, which means to not look down on. Okay, to not look down on. So I'm bringing this up is because we have to separate this from someone saying anything to you, okay? Because some of us would prefer for us to just do our thing and not hear from anyone else, okay? So the Lord reminded me of what Kobe Bryant said to local hometown basketball star Steve Francis. So when Steve Francis was with the Houston Rockets years ago, and Steve was, he wasn't a fundamentally sound guy. He was a total anomaly. He was a very small guy, a lot of agility, man. I mean, he could score 30 on 40 on you, but his thing was to just break the whole arsenal out on you. So, he was entertaining to watch, okay? For some reason, I just Steve Francis, even him at Maryland, it's like I just couldn't really buy into Steve Francis. I don't know, that's not his problem. That's mine. So I'm bringing this up is because Kobe shared one time how he went to Steve Francis and he said, "Yo, why do you always, whatever the terminology was, I'm paraphrasing, shoot off your back foot?" Okay, he saying that, hey, you're off balance when you should. You're off balance when you shoot. So if you do this and this and this, you will have a better result. So Kobe, and the Lord really brought that to me, is because Kobe wasn't judging him. He wasn't looking at him in a unfavorable light. He was saying something to him like, "Yo, this could really improve your game. I know because we're in the same conference. We have to face y'all at least four times a year. If not, run into y'all on playoff time." Okay? So that's Kobe just sowing a seed of goodwill. It was like, look, if I didn't want to help you, I wouldn't have to say anything to you. Okay? So someone saying something to you for your benefit in a way that you can understand, that's an asset. That's not a liability. So I'm saying that is because just because someone says something to you and it may or may not be in the tone that you prefer, that does not make them judgmental. Okay? So a part of it is you gotta work on whatever you have to work on. Okay? Because if you get to a place where no one can say anything to you, you're reckless. Okay? You are reckless. This has nothing to do with accountability. It's because in this example, Kobe, who was an opponent, came to him and was like, "Hey, I can share something with you about your game that can improve you. I get nothing out of it other than seeing the game being furthered, the best quality game." Okay, is because when you're younger, you're all razzle-dazzled by players' agility. When you're older, you're just more concerned about the final result. And that's where I feel like a lot of people are. It's like, yo, I don't care how tall he is. Is he saved? Okay? You're wasting so much time trying to find, a potential spouse that is 6 feet tall. Is like, number one, there are not a lot of 6 feet tall men in the world. Okay? So I don't know if that's something you ought to be praying about. What you should be praying about is the the interior, the content. That's what you need to be praying about. Okay, so I'm just throwing that out there. Okay, there's a limited number of 6 feet men in the world. So someone brought this to my attention. A young lady who is 6 feet. She's like, I have a desire to have a spouse that's not shorter than me. I'm like, I get it. We can't change the exterior per se, in particular height. However, content can really win you over. Okay, content can really can win you over, because we call it warming up to someone. Okay, it's like, no, I get it. He could be 6 feet and a bad attitude, but if he's 5'10" and have a heart for God and have a heart for people, you may have something to work. That may not be all you need. However, that's something to work with. Okay, so yeah, I want to just kind of put some context to things. Okay, it's because a good friend of mine says, with church people in particular, we think A plus B equals C. It's like it doesn't always. Everything's not always black and white. Okay, everything is not always black and white. Okay, it needs context. Okay, certain things need context. Okay, all right, moving along. In verse 2, it says, "For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged." Again, it is a seed. "And with that, what measure ye meet, it shall be measured unto you." So, as I was saying, it's all the seed. However way you do it, that's how it's going to come back to you more. However way you do it, that's how it's going to come back to you more. I can't stand when someone or a coworker or a loved one or a teammate or whatever lash out at you or whatever. Okay, blah blah blah, and then if they do apologize, they do it later in like a text or, "Hey man, I just wanted to pull you to this." I would say, "Whoa, wait, wait. You put whatever this is on display in front of those 10 other people, okay?" It's like, no. However way you measure it, however way you meet, that's how it shall be measured unto you. You have to reap that harvest, all right? So, no. If you believe in embarrassing someone publicly, I hope you believe in public apologies, okay? Because it's the process of apologizing publicly. It's uncomfortable. So it just lets you know, be careful what you say and how you say it, okay? So it is a recuperation mechanism, okay? It gives you opportunity to, I really don't want to do this, but let me get this over. So you can learn from it, so you can say, hey, let me not be so rash with my mouth. Okay? I received a email from my supervisor this week about something not being done. And when I read it, I was like, no. And I typed it, capital N, maybe 4 O's. No, because I was already working on something before. She was implying I didn't do anything the day before. It's like, no, that's not true at all. It's because I was already working on something before you gave me more. All right, so no, and then she came back and apologized and said she read her sheet wrong. It's like, yeah. I get it. I understand a mistake. The thing with people is how things are done. Okay? Sometimes when you have a spouse, it's not so much what's said, it's how you said it. Okay? So, let's be more mindful how we could communicate. Okay, it leads into verse 3. It said, "And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye," which means a speck, but consider not the beam that is in your own eye. So I was speaking earlier in our encouragement session about someone that they call themselves trying to hold you accountable. And I said, everybody isn't worthy to do that. All right. Everyone isn't worthy to do that. Okay. I call it hazing. Okay. It's like, okay, you wanna take time out of your day, and apparently mine, to address a little speck of dust that's in my eye. But yeah, you got a 4x4 that's hanging out of your face. Okay. No. So Jesus goes on and says, "Oh, or how will thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thy eye, and behold, a beam is in thy own eye." In verse 5, thou hypocrite. Now, the word hypocrite is a very interesting word. And we only see this word being used by Jesus. And we only see this word being used towards church people. Thy hypocrite. So, Jesus' ministry is happening during Rome's domination, okay? So, Rome also had arts and sciences, meaning they had plays, okay? So, because there was no internet, TV, whatever, blah, 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 of course, they had arts. So, they would have the theater, okay? So, when these plays would go on, you wouldn't have enough actors to play all the roles. So what you would have is, for an example, you'll have the men playing the roles of some of the women. So what you do is sometimes you'll wear a mask, okay, to kind of bring in whatever character you are trying to bring in. So you sometimes have a mask. So this is where the word comes in, because it's originally pronounced hypocrite. Hypocrite, person that plays more than one role. That's what a hypocrite is. So when Jesus used the word hypocrite, we call it hypocrite. When he says hypocrite, he says you're being more than one person right now. You're being a fraud. You're being a actor. You're not this actor. You're this and that. Trying to make us believe you're only one person. No, you're more than one person. You are a fraud. He says that thy hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thy own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. Hey, cast the beam out of thy own eye. Jesus gives sound advice, because in the process of taking the beam out of your eye, the key is process. When you go through the process, you will become over time more empathetic. More empathetic. So one of my favorite people is Michael Irvin, okay? As a player, couldn't stand him. Couldn't stand him. That 88 and pushing off on defensive backs, I could. And all that trash talking. Oh my goodness. All right. So once he retired and I'll see him at like a speaking engagement, or he came to our church years ago, before I actually joined, and I just thoroughly enjoyed him. Okay, I'm bringing up Irv's name because in the process of him going through everything he went through in college, as far as trying to keep his nose clean and everything, and then he made it to the pros, obviously, Hall of Famer, checkered past, dealing with everything that came along with that. Okay, so he becomes a NFL analyst. Okay, first for ESPN, and then for a long time now for the NFL Network. So when the topic of a player getting in trouble and not being able to play, or whatever the situation is, causing a distraction to the team, I notice just how sensitive he is about it. And what I mean by sensitive, I'm really meaning empathetic. Like, I've been there, I understand it, I know how everyone sees the situation, and I also know how he feels in this situation. Okay? But he never condones it. And that's what Jesus is saying. It's in the process of you dealing with your mess, the process. So it takes time for you dealing with your mess before you can go to somebody else. Okay? It's a process. It's a process. I can't stand people who act like they got it together. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. If you got it together, you can't minister to me. Because it rules out all experiential sensitivity. It's like you have absolutely no idea. Okay, so Jesus just had all the answers to life, man. I mean, that is huge. That is huge. All right. In verse 6, he says, Give not that which is holy unto the dogs, neither cast ye your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet, and then turn again and rend you. So, staying among the same mode. Whatever your proclivities or whatever it is, you can't share that with everyone, okay? You can't share that with everyone, okay? So when years ago we were encouraged to have an accountability partner. So I was like, "Ooh, what's that?" This was maybe 4 years ago. And after I got more information about it, I was like, okay, so, not knowing better, they was like, you know, pick someone you trust. So I didn't know anyone, okay? I just came to the church and everything, and so forth, so on. So, long story short, that didn't go well is mainly because of me. It didn't go well. What I didn't understand was you didn't have to pick an accountability partner at the church. Because what my initial mistake was is I was giving someone access who didn't know me or understand me. That's what I regret. Who didn't know or understand me, okay? Because we spent a tremendous amount of time. I spent a tremendous amount of time defending myself, okay? Just, what do you mean by that? Like, oh, God. Oof. So had I known that I could have chosen someone that I already knew who wasn't at the church, that would have changed everything for me. Because he's still my long time pastor friend. And the real value in that is when I say something, he doesn't question it. It's because we've known each other for so long, and we have had dynamic conversations and everything. Not always comfortable. However, we always understood where the other person was coming from. Because that's half the battle. Look at your marriage, okay? He's saying one thing, she's saying another. You understand what you're trying to say, but the other is hostile towards it because they don't know what you mean. Okay? So the word concept, the word set means idea. The word so the word concept is a compound word. So the word sept means idea or thought. The word con, which means to bind together. So when you put the word together, concept, it means an idea that is bound together. So when the husband is saying something and the wife don't understand it, because she doesn't understand it, she will either ignore it or be hostile about it, and vice versa. So you're both good people and you have good hearts and you have good intentions, but when you're communicating, the other do not understand what you mean. Therefore, she did not receive the concept. If she did, she received it in a negative way. Okay, in the same for him. Okay, I know in experience, people just want to know that they're being heard. Okay, people just honestly want to know confirmation that they are being heard. Okay, so when a man says something to his wife, and she's just waiting for him to stop talking for her to go on and tell her side. It's like, it's disrespectful is because you're valuing what you have to say over what he has to say, okay? And it always causes discourse, okay? So, you wanna give each other time, okay? You wanna give each other time, cause that kind of stuff starts wars, okay? When someone takes something as an offense or a sign of disrespect, because let me tell you something, everyone retaliates. It may not be forceful, it may not be immediately, but everyone retaliates. I have a friend, and she was talking to me about what happened at work and everything, and then I don't remember the day, but like when she explains it to me, I'm like, okay, I can see that happening. She was explaining whatever challenge she was having on her job, and then at the time, I just totally downplayed it, okay? And that really made, naturally, that made her feel a certain way. So from there on out, she always said, okay, we won't ever talk about things like that again. So when she said that, I had no idea what she was talking about. Because something happened and I didn't know what it was. But she was holding me, she was retaliating, in a very indirect way about it. So anytime I started to see a pattern